Hey everybody, this is Javier Balderramos. I have Roosevelt here with me. I had asked Roosevelt to come on so that we could talk about the WWE ID program. Now, I know all the internet's already gone about it. They already talked about the WWE ID program and they already moved along. But I wanted to wait to sit here and watch Evolve and see how it kind of like evolves into what it is that is. So now that we have some facts, now that we actually have some concrete things going on, I invited Roosevelt to come on because he is the man, the myth, the legend, all day, every day. And I wanted him to get his information, his personal ideas of exactly how the WWE ID is going to work.
What's going on, bro? What's going on, everybody? Yeah, this is your boy Roosevelt, the man who likes to fight. And of course, as he already said, we're going to talk about the WWE ID and how this is going to evolve, pun intended. WWE has launched their WWE ID program, in which they're giving a lot of independent wrestlers an opportunity to develop their characters and become part of the WWE roster. And they're doing it with the independent. I want to say it's an independent company still. Evolve. It started off as an independent company ran by Gabe Sapolsky. And little known fact is actually co-founded by Daniel Bryanson. A lot of people don't know that he actually was a part of the development of the Evolve promotion with Gabe Sapolsky. And the reason for that is because he was saying that a lot of the talent that was coming through there were going to evolve into something big, and that's how the name came about. So it's very interesting to see how everything is going to come in terms of all of the talent that they currently have, and of course, Evolve is a part of the Tubi program, which is a free app um, that streams different things, and it's very interesting that they went the route of Tubi. Um, what do you think about that, Javier?
Well, the rest of the world, you actually watch it on YouTube. I
Mm.
think Tubi's actually United States is the only place that actually is probably getting paid to film it and put it on there. But everybody else, they actually watch it on YouTube.
I think that's a pretty big and bold move for WWE. Um, but it's a way to kind of grab a lot of viewers that they don't have on the mainstream of a cable TV or a Netflix or anything of that nature. And I think the Triple H and Shawn Michaels and a lot of the other producers are realizing that a lot of the talent have made a lot of um, fans. They've grown their following substantially through things like YouTube or TikTok, and they're kind of tapping into that stream of drawing in fans and followers. Was going into like the WWE ID and evolving, utilizing the YouTube platform to draw some attention.
It is like I know actually two of them. Like I don't. It doesn't matter what anybody says. His name is Jack Cartwell to me, but apparently now his name is Jack Summit. But apparently now he's called Jack Summit. But he will always forever be known as Jack Cartwell. And and Kylie Ray is part of the WWID, which is kind of surprising.
It is very surprising. And to look at some of the names that they have up here, as far as the prospects for the WWE idea, we have Zeta Steel, who has been very impressive in my opinion. I've really very vaguely heard of her, but just seeing her and how she moves in a ring is very impressive to me. Then we have Bryce Donovan, we have Cappuccino Jones, Jack Summit, like you just mentioned, Zara Zecker, Sean Legacy. I've been around him, and he's an amazing talent. Aaron Rourke, Brad Baylor, Jackson Drake. I've been around. He used to be a tag team partner with now Javon Evans when they were on the Indies. They were the the prodigies. They have Ice Williams, Ida Gal, Marcus Mathers, Ricky Smokes, Sam Hardway Holloway, Zoe Sager, Aaron Roberts, and of course, as we mentioned, Kylie Ray.
Yeah, because I've seen Kylie Ray. She showed up to the NWA a few times. And
Mm-hmm.
Jack Harlow is a regular on the NWA.
Yeah, yeah, and Cappuccino Jones has made his way on a lot of big stages as well as Sean Legacy. The only the only issue I have with Evolve right now, well, not really an issue. It's more of an insight is that they have a lot of growing to do, and it kind of takes me back to the days of FCW when they were doing the developmental for a lot of the talent, and it's a transition for a lot of the guys and girls that are there now in terms of the WWE ID prospects, because a lot of them are coming from the independents, and a lot of them may not have the opportunity to learn how to work TV style, how to cut a promo, and how to actually um, create the moments in their matches. You know, a lot of them have that race car, car crash style, just going, and it's cool for right now because you have a small audience. But once you start getting to a broader audience, like NXT, when NXT first started, they had a small audience. Now they're growing, they're getting bigger. A lot of the guys and girls on NXT know how to work in terms of a main roster type of thing. And I hate to say main roster because NXT has become such a strong entity that they're their own brand of a main roster, in my opinion. But if you think about Raw and SmackDown, a lot of the guys that come from NXT and go to that platform knows how to be able to create those moments, so that the fans can digest everything that's going on. And I think a lot of the guys and girls at Evolve are going to have to really learn that, so that way they can um, get the fans to really get invested in their characters.
Well, I think the what they're happening with Evolve is the fact that they're no longer learning the indie way, they're learning the WWE way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's quite a change for quite a bit of them because you mentioned car crashes and they slam into like walls and they just get up and everything's fine and the WWE doesn't quite work out like that.
Right.
You got to have the full thing. You got to be able to talk, you got to be able to wrestle, you got to be able to get along with people. You got to be able to know even call your shots when it's time to call your shots. Like these are things that WWE is teaching them.
Yeah, and a lot of and let's be honest, wrestling is 90%, 80% character, 20% in ring ability, right? And a lot of these guys and girls do not have any type of acting background. I always tell people all the time, go and get some acting classes, so that way you know how to bring your character to life. We always say is you turn up to 1,000, but still you have to be able to say, okay, well, who am I? And how do I bring that individual to life to 1,000 times? Some people would say, "Oh, well, I'm a nerd that plays video games in the basement." Okay, well, if you were to go outside and get in a ring or get in a fight with somebody, how would you let someone know that you are a tough person and you don't want no one wants to be messed with? And I always reference like Dragon Ball Z. I'm Goku in real life. That's my mentality. That's how I move. So whenever I get in a ring with someone, they know that they're going to be in a long-term fight. It's not just a run through. You can't run through me. Like if you knock me down, I'm going to keep getting back up. And you got to find something really, really big to keep me down for a 1, 2, 3 or a submission. But a lot of these guys and girls are going to have to learn some type of acting background to be able to make their characters stand out a lot more. And then getting away from the indie mentality of talking trash to the fans. It doesn't really grasp well in terms of like a WWE type of format. And when you look at NXT, when you look at Raw and SmackDown, yeah, they may do it during the house shows because it's just a house show. They're not really doing too much action. They're just more sort of like, entertaining. But when
Yeah.
you look at a TV type of product, a lot of times the people don't really care about you talking trash to them. It's more so what you do in the ring. It's always emotion over emotion.
See, I also wanted to mention some of the additional academies that are part of the WWID program, which there's quite a few. Like here in the States, here in Texas, we actually have Booker T's reality wrestling.
Hmm.
And I think it's ironic that Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Factory, which he used to be part of, it used to be like a main structure of AEW, which now is WWE, and they have them as a WWID school, as well as Seth Rollins, Elite Pro Wrestling, and Knox Pro Academy, which is just kind of like the start.
Yeah. I find it interesting that a school like the Monster Factory in New Jersey isn't on this list. And I've seen like Danny Cage's opinions about it. And I honestly have to agree with him because a lot of the guys and girls that are on WWE right now came from the Monster Factory. You think of someone like Sheamus, you think of The Big Show, you think of Damian Priest. Like he is the Monster Factory. Like he came legitimately from the Monster, like he's got his start there. Matt Riddle came through the Monster Factory. A lot of these guys and girls that came through there, and Danny Cage's reputation um, stands, pales to no one. He's that guy that has given a lot of people their start. So to see that they're not even on the list or even considered as one of the first ones in this group of lists that we have is bonkers to me.
It's also like this list is just about 2 months old, I think. I'm sure that there's going to be more academies that are going to be placed on the WID programs. Some from
Yeah,
out of the state, from out of country. It wouldn't surprise me if they find some in Mexico and Japan.
yeah,
Then they might even
absolutely.
go as far as like working with all Japan since they already have a working agreement.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to think about when you go to like Germany, you got WXW, and then a Wild Samoan school. I'm surprised about that.
I'm sure we'll get an updated version of this like later down the road.
Yeah, at least either right before WrestleMania or soon after.
Yeah, because I've always been in the mindset if you can't beat them, join them kind of deal. So, so like, why you gonna expand in Japan when you got to compete with all Japan? You got to compete with New Japan and as well as Stardom, and then recently they aligned with Marty Gold, which I know I'm gonna butcher it, but it's kind of like a branch off of actual Stardom, which the WWE female wrestlers have been shown on Marigold.
Hmm.
And why do you want to go and compete against AAA when you
And
can just see about having a working agreement with them? But right now, I think they're all have a working agreement with AEW.
yeah, and I think that's going to change pretty soon. Because you think about talent such as Penta, who is now part of WWE, who has got his foot wet and cemented in the AAA and CMLL very heavily. I wouldn't be surprised if he started recommending like some talent from there and bringing them to WWE's attention, and maybe even forming some type of joint venture with that. Because WWE's been doing really pretty good with their joint ventures. And, NXT and TNA has been working very good, very well hand in hand. And even like you mentioned, some of the companies in Japan, when WWE allows someone like AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura to go over there and work for a couple of months and then come back and still be part of the main roster with no type of hiccups or anything in their contract.
I would almost like to see them just go on a 3 month walk, like a 3 month tour. Just put them over there because I know it's gonna sound like a bad my take, but Shinsuke hasn't been doing very well here in the States.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, why can't they just send him to Japan and just leave him there for a while?
Yeah, let them build up a WWE Japan type of thing. Kind of like when they did WWE NXT UK. which
Yeah.
you know why that even flopped, but because they were doing so good. I mean, we got people like Pete Dunne. We got someone like Ilya Dragunov. We got Gunther from WWE UK. We got what's my guy's names? Um,
A little strong boy.
yeah, yeah. Tyler Bate. You know,
Yeah.
Gallus. You know,
We
who's
have so many. The Gallus is still on the roster now today.
yeah. You know, Piper Nivens. We got her. Tony Storm. We had her at one point. So I'm really interested to see if they actually try that, because I'm noticing that Shinsuke Nakamura's style is a very Japan style, and it's like the United States fans are not really grasping on it because they just don't understand it. But the Japan fans, you know, they live in that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So
the strong style is not on the American style because
yeah.
over there, they're gonna take that knee and put it in your face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Over here, you watch them and they're slapping their thighs.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, it translates better. It actually translates better as something like hardcore wrestling than it actually does on WWE television. Like he came in and he got a hero's welcome in NXT. I think we talked about that.
Yeah. And you know what? And even with the strong style and with WWE having their connection with TKO and TKO owning UFC, I don't. And then you know WWE doing things like the NXT Underground. Shinsuke could do really well in that type of style if they really hone into that. They can take someone like a Shinsuke Nakamura, a Karrion Cross, and throw them into those type of matches and let them have their own little entity of wrestling style, you know. Um, but it's a very thin line of being able to do that, because if you put me, let's say if you and I got into an underground match, right, and it took you, yeah, it took you to the point of you giving me a really strong knockout or a rear naked choke to beat me, and then you go and have a match with someone smaller than me and they beat you with a roll up. It kind of kills everything that you and I did, because you just lost to someone who was smaller and just kind of just did no damage to you. It just kind of just rolled you up and you was done. So it's a thin line to be able to do that. And I think that's why they really don't do it as much on NXT. They're kind of making it light when they make it special. The very recent one they had was Trick Williams and I can't think of the guy's name.
It was Thornton.
Yes, yes. They had a really good fight in that one.
Well, I mean,
One,
Trick Williams really looked like he beat the hell out of him.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
absolutely,
that's the part that's missing is the actual part of where it needs to look like you really are beating the hell out of somebody in
yeah.
a match like
And
that.
Trick just did not have that. And a lot of the wrestlers, you know, whether they're on independence or on, you know, the main stage, is the problem is a lot of them don't know how to fight. So when you see them throwing punches or they get into a match like that, it's like, okay, this don't even look like you even trying to beat this guy. You just look like you just throwing. You look like,
Yeah.
you know, or the back in the day with the windmill, just and hoping and wishing that something lands. But I'm interested to see exactly where they're gonna go from there.
I think
The
like my
two,
favorite thing of my favorite recent thing was when John Moxley was wearing the spikes,
oh man,
and everyone's like, "That's such a horrible thing to do," and I'm like, "It should have never been on public television
right,
for one." I mean
right,
that could have happened. Like if they would have did it on pay-per-view, I would have been okay with it. But they did it on public television is where
and
my issue came with.
and to think, how much money did you actually get to do that on regular TV? Now, if it was a pay per view, I might understand a little bit more. I'm still kind of like, why are you doing that? Because it's really not necessary. You could do something else to kind of get it over.
Yeah,
But
you know,
regular TV, nah, I don't get it.
like I
Um,
remember they talk about heads chair shots to the head were just too much, so we can't do them no more.
Yeah.
But you're
So
telling me this dude could wear a spike?
yeah, instead of doing chair shots, let's put a spike in your back and right near your spinal cord and hope
Yeah,
that you don't get paralyzed.
it's crazy to me sometimes. I'm like, what's going on?
I don't know. It is, yeah, as you said, it doesn't make any sense. The going back to the WWE ID program, two main components of it is that the support of the wrestling schools that they have up under their umbrella, which WWE designates prominent independent wrestling schools as official WWE ID institutions, enhancing developmental opportunities for trainees and existing talents. Um, Again, this is a very big opportunity for a lot of young talent and some vets that are on the indies to be able to take their abilities to the next level if they choose so. And a lot of people say, you know what, I enjoy being on the independents. I don't understand that.
I mean,
Unless you're really making some good money and you're comfortable just being home and local, okay. But I want to be able to say, you know what, I'm so comfortable that this is all I have to do. I don't have to have a second job.
that's kind of like what some people just want to do whatever they want, and that's just kind of like you're on a WWE banner. You're what? You're working 300 days a week,
Yeah,
300
yeah,
days a week, 300 days a year.
yeah. This is true. The other thing component they have is that the prospect development with WWE identifies top independent wrestling prospects and provides them with the WWE ID prospect designation. One of the things that I've seen recently on social media is the hardship of getting a lot of these talent booked on a lot of these independent shows. I don't know if WWE is paying for the talent to go to these independent shows, whether they're requiring the independent shows to pay these talents.
Well, no,
And
once they become a WWE ID wrestler, the WWE is paying them.
well,
They're
see, that's
essentially they're essentially exactly what we think it is. They're prospects.
okay. Good.
It really is like the NBA developmental league, like
Yeah.
the G League where they make small money while they're in the indies, but once they go on to television, they start making more money. Like they're actually making an actual pyramid is what they're
Okay.
trying to develop.
Okay. Good. Because a lot of things is going on social media where people are trying to make, and I think they're just trying to get some attention on their product and their company.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see how they're making the choices of what companies to go to. I don't know if they're allowing the prospects to kind of say, "Hey, I've done really well at this company," or "I've seen some really good talent at this company," or they're out there scouting. I know Gabe Sapolsky has done a lot of tours around the U.S. with his tryouts and seminars that he's done all over the U.S. And I don't know if he's just saying, you know what, this company is really good or this company has really good talent. I think we should send somebody out there to kind of ID this individual. Um,
Well, in all honesty, I'm pretty sure they're still going by the good old boy system, like right now today. And they're just like reviewing, like they have to be going backwards instead of forwards. So reviewing tapes, watching YouTube, seeing what shows are out there. They have to be doing something of like taking steps backwards instead of forward.
yeah, and of course, still doing their WWE recruit page where you go up there and you submit your information on your profile and you update like your pictures, you update your matches, and they kind of take a look at you through that as well.
Like what I really would like to know is are they if they would be sending the agents or any like talent to those facilities to look over maybe even have like a class there. That's kind of curious about that.
It would be good. I mean, so that way they can say, you know what, this is exactly what we're looking for. Because let's be honest, a lot of independent wrestlers don't know exactly what WWE is looking for. They're just going out there and doing what they know, and that's where a lot of them kind of get lost in the sauce. And they some of them have their they underwears and the tight wire because they're like, man, I know I'm great, which is good. You should feel like you're great, but if you're not giving the recruiters exactly what they're looking for, then you can be great all day, but that doesn't get you to the next level. And again, a lot of these recruiters need to say, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I know Gabe Sapolsky is very good about that. In fact, he's great about that, where he'll say, I want a 3-minute match. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. This is what you need to give me. And you're either going to give it to him the way he's looking for it, or you're going to exceed his expectations, or you're going to fail miserably.
And one of the things is like I've noticed that a lot more WWE wrestlers are wrestling in the indies.
Yes. Yes.
They're not wrestling in like the step below WWE, like TNA and all. I bring up All Japan because I've been watching it lately.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been kind of hard to watch because it's not in English, but yeah, if you watch wrestling, you kind of know.
Yeah. all the commentary kind of sounds the same. Whereas ping, ping, ping,
Yeah,
ping.
you watch
Exactly.
wrestling, you can just put it together. You can put
Yeah.
it together.
It's very good to see that WWE is allowing a lot of the talent to kind of go on the independence and do some things. Karrion Kross just recently did a show at Future Stars of Wrestling in Las Vegas, where they did a benefit for Chris Bay, who had an incident at a wrestling show where it was just a freak accident. He went for a cutter and landed wrong and was paralyzed for a while. And so they raised a lot of money for him and put on an amazing show from what I've seen. So it's really cool to see that WWE is allowing a lot of their talent to go out and do these things. And it also works out very well for the independent guys and a lot of these companies to say, you know what, we had such and such who is currently signed to WWE on our show, and he came and checked out our product and checked out our talent. And then they can potentially go back and say, yo, this guy's good. Like, let's bring him in for a tryout, or let's bring him in for a match on TV, see what he does, or let's bring him up to Evolve. Let him go out there and get his foot wet and see how the fans react to him.
Yeah, because like I know that Natalia was in the NWA for one episode,
Yeah.
for one match. Like she showed up in there.
Yeah.
I know
Which
that
is,
AJ Styles took off to Japan. I'm still waiting for AJ Styles to end up in TNA for like one match.
bro, and it has to happen. And I'm
And I
surprised
know
that
it
we
needs
haven't
to. It
seen a
needs to
lot of
happen.
I'm surprised we haven't seen a lot of WWE, either Raw or SmackDown talent going over to TNA and doing at least one match, especially if you've known, like, been very well known on TNA, like an AJ Styles.
I'm still waiting for the John Cena Joe Henry match.
I'm waiting for the John Cena Roosevelt match.
You should get it. It's coming. It's coming. If John Cena would have stayed a baby face, I'm pretty sure we could have seen him in TNA.
Yeah.
But now that he's gone to the dark side or whatever it is they want to call it, there's no chance for him to go there.
No. Nonetheless, now I can see Joe Hendry coming over to here and getting into it with him. Can you imagine the promos back and forth? Like the promos between John Cena and Cody Rhodes has been really good. Like it's been pushing Cody to another level. But imagine like John Cena and Joe Hendry. That would be kind of
Yeah. I mean, if you notice, they're actually cheering John Cena and they're editing out the cheers.
yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, that's how fans are. They're like, yeah, we like you, but you're talking trash to us. I don't care. Yeah, I'm a stupid guy. Thank you.
I'm
Like the
gonna shit
fans
on
that,
your child. I'm gonna
yeah,
shit on your
like,
child, and everything's gonna be yay.
yeah, exactly. Like the fans that literally go to these conventions to MJF and ask him to do these things like curse at him or give him the middle finger or write a curse word on their autograph just to say that MJF did that. It's weird to me.
I know it's crazy when you go to the super fan shows. Man, those people come out of the woodworks.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I'm very interested to see how everything works out, and I'm very excited to see all of this opportunity happening for a lot of guys and girls, including myself, if when the opportunity comes about, to see exactly where they all can go in terms of the WWE ID and the WWE Evolve developmental program.
And then I wanted to talk about the WWE ID championships. I know we haven't actually talked about.
Okay.
Of course, everything we're saying is just for that part is kind of like theory because they haven't actually given away too much information
Mm-hmm.
on how their WWE is going to send championships to the independents.
I think they'll be more so of like, go out there and just defend it. I don't really see anybody losing any championships. Of course, it would actually raise some eyebrows, in my opinion, if someone like a Jackson Drake was to go out there and lose his belt one night and get it back the next night. It kind of makes the people want to watch a little bit more. Because I feel like if someone like Shawn Legacy became WWE ID champion or whatever kind of title, whatever, however they want to label it, and he goes to an independent show and he's like, yeah, I'll come to your company, I'll defend the belt. Well, you just come in just to win. And people's just going to know, okay, well, we know who's going to win because there's no way that you're going to let Shawn Legacy lose his belt to somebody that's on the independence company. But if they were to do it and say, let's say if a company had a show on a Friday night and then a show on a Saturday night, and he loses on Friday and gets it back on Saturday, that kind of elevates the title a little bit. Not so much of like the joke with the 24/7 championships,
Yeah.
where it's kept changing hands, but it kind of gives people want to watch it a lot more and want to understand the product. And of course, it kind of puts the, this person could be next on the Evolve developmental by winning a championship more so than just having a match with somebody.
Like, I would really, really like to see how they're going to go about when they interact with like multiple companies. Like when they have to do some kind of like crossover with the title
Yeah.
is kind of what I'm curious about because the politics of that has to be wild. Especially when you throw in something as precious as the prize, essentially, is you're working for the WWE on the independent level.
Yeah. And imagine like being a champion of a company and WWE sends their champion, their WWE ID champion, and it's a winner takes all type of match.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
That would be really good. That would be very interesting in my opinion.
Like, can you imagine the credibility that some of the independent companies would get if their champion is a WWE identified champion?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, even so, if a WWE ID champion was to win their title and go back on WWE product wearing that championship, and they get a mention of, yeah, he beat such and such in a match last week, da da da. They do to have a rematch, and then let's say that person, that individual, goes on WWE Evolve to fight for that title back and gets it back,
Yeah.
and go back to the independents. The only issue with all of this is money. And
Do you
I'm gonna
think
tell
money
you,
would be the issue?
money would definitely be the issue because a lot of the guys who say, you know what, I was in a match with a WWE ID prospect, or I wrestled for the WWE ID championship, or I went on Evolve and I won my title back. Companies are, potentially going to reach out to them, but then they're going to try to charge some astronomical number because they feel like they owed it, which to a certain extent, but unless you are actually getting some kind of contract or a consistent opportunity where you're continuously used, having a one-off and then going back just doesn't, equate to saying, you know what, my booking fee has gone from 200 to 1,000. Because who's going to pay that?
I mean, somebody will pay.
Uh,
I mean,
one
it's
one company one time,
well,
but
the number went from like 200 to like 1,000. Yeah, I get that part.
Right, absolutely. And then and then at the same time, it's going to be like, okay, well, who am I getting in the ring with? And then are you going to be willing to put that person over? You getting paid $1,000, and you come in and say, well, I don't want to put somebody over because I was just on WWE TV. What does that mean?
I mean, like, I think the best comparison would actually be when we had the territory days.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be like the best comparison is when one territory sent their champion over to another territory to have their dream match in the 80s.
I can see that. And they can actually work, honestly. I would love to see the schools and academies that they have up under their WWE ID program put on matches against each other, kind of do like a joint venture. So you imagine like the talent from Reality of Wrestling going up against the talent from Elite Pro Wrestling or Knox Pro.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of gives a lot of the guys and girls that are there big opportunities to step in the ring with somebody different, to get a different perspective and get more eyes on their product. And it's hard. It's hard to get in these schools now too, because
I bet it is now.
Yeah, because of the label of having a WWE ID, it's hard for a lot of these guys and girls to get in these schools and go to these companies. I reached out to Reality of Wrestling. I'm very good friends with Ryan Davidson, and I told him, I said, hey, man, I would love to, I'm still interested in coming. And he was like, man, I've been wanting to get you out here, but with the WWE ID thing now, it's kind of stricter because they want to make sure they have particular people in there, which is understandable. But it's getting a lot tougher for a lot of the guys and girls, which it should be easier, in my opinion. Doors should kind of fly open a little bit more. But I do understand why it would be a lot more stricter, because if your talent is being looked at by WWE with the potential of getting a developmental contract, then you don't want to have just anybody getting in the ring with them with the instance that there could be an injury or an accident happening, something like that, and it kind of takes away from their ability to go out there and have their opportunity. It's exposure. It's exposure for a lot of the companies that are out there, a lot of the talent that are out there, and it's a way for them to kind of get their foot in the door with the WWE.
It also makes me wonder, like, what other legends other than JBL is going to make appearance in the Indies?
It's interesting to ask because they have the LFG going on right now with Bubba Ray Dudley, Booker T, Mickey James, and The Undertaker, giving some WWE hopefuls an opportunity to learn from them and get their foot in the door. And I would be very interested to see if they would actually do a cross type of thing with the WWE ID prospects and the LFG talent as well, to kind of put on some shows and some matches and see how well they do.
I know that's funny that you mentioned the LFG. I know people get mad, but it's just tough enough to me. It's just
yeah.
It's really just the newer, updated version of Tough Enough. And I know people get mad. I know they do. They're like, well, Javier, it's not tough enough. Tough Enough was a show on MTV from the 90s and 2000s. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's a reality show.
Exactly. The same thing. And they were talking about revamping Tough Enough years ago. And I guess they figured, you know what, instead of calling it Tough Enough, let's give it a whole new name, a whole new package. But it's pretty much, like I said, it's still the same thing. They're just not, as of yet, going on the Raw, SmackDown, and having their little training opportunities. I just watched a video of The Undertaker giving, I can't remember the wrestler's name, but before he actually got on the main roster, a training opportunity before the show while fans were coming into the building, which was very interesting to see. And I would love to see if they would do that with the LFG or with the WWE ID prospects. Oh, the other thing that I'm really uh, blown away by in terms of the WWE ID prospects and the Evolve product is the fans aren't fans. Did you know that?
Yeah, I kind of knew. I kind of knew that from that point.
Yeah, they're family. So they're family and friends that have been invited to the
To watch them wrestle.
to watch them wrestle, and it kind of just it waters down the actual real crowd participation, in my opinion, because they're just out there. If my mother's out there, she's screaming the entire time.
Yeah, well, I
My
mean,
mother's
can't you just see your mother out there with her flip flop, like?
Yeah, she's a big wrestling fan, so it doesn't matter who's in the ring. She's screaming, she's cheering, she's booing, whatever. But a lot of these family and friends probably don't watch wrestling, and they're just happy to just be there to support their individual person that they're there to see. All the other matches just don't matter to them, so they're not going to have any type of reaction or any type of emotion in terms of the other matches if it's not their person. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
yeah, it kind of kills it to where you can hear people cheering, but it's only like what 10 people cheering for this one individual or for this one match. Where it shows you got like maybe 300 people in the building, and you only hear like 10, 15 people cheering or booing on each individual match. So I think they need to get some regular fans in there, and let them actually. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be an opportunity for the WWID prospects to go in there and grab the fans' attention. And if you're not doing that in front of real fans, then what is the purpose of them even putting on matches and shows?
well, I mean, it's kind of comparable to TNA early days when they were at Universal Studios. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of them weren't wrestling fans that were in there. They were just in there because it was part of a show for Universal, and TNA just happened to be recording there. And a lot of those people, they won them over. They won them over. It's this kind of like, I know it's not the family, but it's kind of comparison of what you were just talking about. Like, yeah, they're not wrestling, they're the family, but I mean, like, going to Universal to be entertained,
Mm-hmm.
it has to have some kind of feeling and meaning to see their mijo, their little baby boy, go out there.
Right. Right. And even with the TNA doing the universal thing, there's still a difference because you're winning over people who don't know you. You know, um, well, yeah, I kind of agree with you. You're winning over people that don't know you. But if you got an entire building full of people who don't know anybody on the roster, they're watching the entire thing because they want to get invested in the entire thing. If you have a building full of family and friends, they're going to be watching and waiting for that individual match rather than worried about the entire show. You know what I'm saying? So there's a
Yeah.
difference in that where a group of people who don't watch wrestling at all and don't care who's in the ring and don't know anybody, they're going to watch to see who's actually going to grab their attention. A group of a building full of people who are your family and friends, like I said, they're going to come in. It's like a graduation. You know,
Every week.
everybody go to graduation, and all your family and friends are sitting in the audience, and you hear that one group get crazy and loud when your name is called. That's the same thing as what's happening with WWE Evolve.
You know, I also like on Evolve when they bring some of the lower card NXT
NXT
wrestlers on
talent.
there now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wouldn't really call Gallus lower card.
Well, I mean, they had I'm not gonna call them lower card either, but certainly like they're getting like additional screen time that they would normally get.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
You know, like when we look at Gallus, they're kind of the group in the back that
Mhm.
help train at this point.
Yeah,
You know, so I know
absolutely.
they could probably give them a push. Like if they were just push them on the main roster, they could probably be a really good tag team.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Because
they're not doing that.
A fun fact: Mark Coffey, it was a Mark or Joe. One of them was actually hand selected by The Rock to train him before his WrestleMania match last year. Like he went and asked for one of the members of Gallus to get in the ring with him and move around with him and kind of get him in ring shape and ready for his WrestleMania match was, really big to say the least for the members of Gallus. And I think WWE has sat back and say, you know what? If you can go out there and work with The Rock or get hand selected by The Rock, then we fully trust you to go out there with these WWE ID prospects and kind of help them and guide them and give them the tools that they need to be able to come up to the main roster of NXT.
I mean, they kind of even gave that to Bob Holly. I don't know if you remember that or not. Back in the
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
he kind
absolutely.
of had that role of, I'm not a locker room enforcer, but more or less he was one of the people that people looked up to when it came to, like, the man nearly died for the company.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Even William Regal was one of those guys that the guys kind of looked up to and looked for with for advice. And Fit Finley. Finley is another big one who the guys went to and said, "Hey, what do you think about this? What should I do about this?" Um, so shout out to Gallus, for being those guys at this point.
so what are you going to be doing on your next
Uh,
steps?
well, my next steps is to just keep, making waves, man. Right now, I'm just working on international stuff. I'm kind of getting my name out there a lot more internationally, and I think that's going to help me in terms of getting beyond a WWE ID prospect type of label. It's like I said, it's good and it's great, but 16 years in, 43 years old, I think I'm kind of beyond a WWE ID prospect label right now. I would love to just go out there and just have a tryout, let them see how I get busy. I've actually heard that the tryout, the things that they go through in the tryout, would actually be a warm up for me. Like the way I train myself is a lot more intense than what they're actually having these guys and girls do. So I'm interested to be able to go out there and show them, like, look, I don't get tired. As long as I can keep moving, as long as I keep using my energy, I get more energy. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I'm enjoying the opportunity to go international. I'm going to Canada over the summer. I have opportunity to go to the UK. Possibilities going to Italy for the very first time, and I'm working on trying to go to Qatar. Been talking to Caprice Coleman, and he's very connected with the promoter for that company out there, and see exactly what can happen. I mean, right now, like I said, for me, international. I just want a worldwide name.
I mean, you never thought of working in Saudi Arabia?
I would love to. I would love to. Look, I'm willing to hit any country that's willing to bring me out there, as long as I ain't got to get 1,000 shots and needles before I go there. All these vaccinations. I mean, I would love to go to Africa, but then got to get all these needles and shots and vaccinations. Look, I've been in the military. Whatever they gave me when I was there, I think I'm good for the rest of my life. I don't need anything else.
You don't want to feel it twice?
No, I don't want to. No, I did it once. I think I'm good. I'm Captain America now.
Good, 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 Captain America. Well, Roosevelt, thank you for being on. And if you want, you can send me all your descriptions and everything, and I'll put them all out there for everybody to find you.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me, man. Yeah, guys, make sure y'all tune in every time this man posts this show, man. If you want to get some of the best products, some of the goodest information, and to keep up with what's going on out there in the professional wrestling or combat sports or any sports out there, make sure you tune in to Planet Texas podcast right here with your boy Javier.
And where can they find your podcast?
You can find my podcast. Actually, we can get ready. Good. I'm about to get ready for a show tonight. It is the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music. You can find us on TikTok, Facebook. Just look up the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast, and you can see all the shows that we have in the past and the things that we got coming up. We got some interviews coming up with O'Shea Edwards. We just had Kenny King. We've had Caprice Coleman. We had Ron Simmons. We've had R-Truth. So make sure you guys tune in where you can go and say, hey, Alexa, play the Best Damn Wrestling podcast, and we'll pull right up for you.
All right, everybody.